Hey everybody, Neil Thompson, founder of Teach the Geek here. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as every bit helps. If you're a technical founder and you're giving pitches to potential investors on your company, you may want to consider being a guest on podcasts to help hone your pitch. So how can you get on podcasts? Well, you can go on listennotes.com and type in startup founders, find a whole bunch of podcasts. You then sequester out the ones that actually accept guests and ones that have actually put out an episode in a while. You don't certainly want to go after ones that haven't put out an episode in months. Those are likely defunct podcasts. Then you can reach out to the podcast hosts and to see if talking about your technology would be of interest to their podcast. I know that I came from the medical device space, and there's more than a few medical device themed podcasts that accept guests and they talk about their companies, especially if they're doing really interesting things within their companies. So there's definitely opportunities to get out there and not only just talk about your company, but get your name out there for other people to know about your company, perhaps potential investors. When it comes to actually being a guest on the podcast, though, what's really helpful is trying to develop sound bites. So it's not just about talking about you and the company. It's about saying something that's impactful, but catchy, that you can catch in maybe a couple of seconds. And a lot of these podcasts, they clip their interviews. So what they'll do is they'll take various sections of the interviews and then post those as well, kind of as a teaser to the actual podcast interview. And what that does is you can look at those clips and think to yourself, well, if the interviewer, the podcast host, thought that this was of interest, perhaps investors will as well. So maybe this is something to include in my investment pitch when it comes time to actually give pitches to potential investors. When it comes to these interviews, or when it comes to pitching investors, a part of the pitch deck that you'll likely have is the talk about financials, the size of the market you want to get into, how much of the market you think you can get, and year by year, how much you think you can make with the company, with your invention or with your company. A lot of that information is pretty speculative. Certainly, you can find out what the size of the market is, but how much of it you can get, especially if you're pre-seed round, you don't really know. It's pretty much a guess. And then certainly how much you're going to make year after year, that's all a guess too. So certainly that's not something to focus on when you're on podcast, which is helpful because it's most likely the guest or the host won't even ask you that type of question. What you can focus on is delivering sound bites and delivering a story and focusing on what that story is. I mean, why did you start your company? The people that you work with, why are you working with them? What do you hope this invention or your company does for the people you're trying to serve? I mean, if you focus on that during the interview, it will be easy for the podcast host to then clip those sound bites, those potential sound bites, for you to then think this is something that needs to be in the presentation pitch or in the pitch to investors. So hopefully that's something to keep in mind. If you were to be a guest on podcast, really hone in on telling the story of the company. That's really what people are interested in. That's what investors are interested in a lot of instances. That's why certain companies get funded and others don't, because they weren't the best. The pitchers weren't the best at painting a picture of what the company actually is to the investors, and they just kind of move past it. People are logical, but they're emotional too. So you really do need to tap into that emotional part of the investors or the people who are listening to your presentation, to your pitch. So get on podcasts. It's really helpful. Be a guest on podcasts. You can go on Listen Notes to find out the applicable podcasts. You can even use generative AI like ChatGPT to generate a list of applicable podcasts, and then reach out to the hosts and see what goes from there. Hopefully that helps. Again, my name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, as every bit helps. Thanks. Have a great day.